Peace and great rising, family. Peace and great rising. Welcome to day 750 with the Wake Up Everybody community. Woo -woo. But today we are unpacking UJAMAA Cooperative Economics. Very, very grateful and excited that you are with us today. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Facebook. Welcome, Adam. Abimbola, great rising. Hey, y'all.
Good morning, Angela. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm flowing. How are you?
Every day is a good day whenever I wake up.
Indeed, indeed.
I just came from working out this morning.
Oh, I know you did. The faithful. Awesome, awesome. Great rising as y'all are coming in. Okay, our Facebook family has joined us. Welcome, welcome, Facebook. Hey, Z, I see you in the space. Great rising, everyone.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
All right, all right, all right. I'm so thankful and excited for this day. We will be discussing cooperative economics. And so I just want to start out by asking who in the community is familiar with cooperative economics? What do you know about it? What do you don't know? When you hear cooperative economics and the principle of UJAMAA, what comes to mind? Feel free to just drop your thoughts in the chat. And who do we have in this space? I may call on some folks this rising. Kadeem, brother, how are you?
Well, thank you. I was just writing my comment in the chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think for me, cooperative economics, I generally tend to think about working together towards increasing our abundance. So abundance in varying ways, whether it's through sweat equity, whether it's through financial, whether it's through different kinds of resources. So just working together towards that particular goal.
Okay. And we can go ahead and, put up the slides as well. Okay, yes, working together toward a shared goal is what I'm hearing, indeed. Any other thoughts? What comes to mind when you think about, or when you hear the words cooperative economics?
I'll jump in. Resources, all forms of abundance that are generative, that create the space for movements, manifestation, wealth building, like those are co-created and shared amongst the village.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can go to the next slide. So according to the Kwanzaa principle, UJAMA Cooperative Economics is to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses to profit from them together. This is collective building. We are sharing resources, we're sharing responsibility, we are connecting, and most importantly, the piece about this is we are sharing the resources and sharing the profits generated from our collective economic endeavors. And so what this really requires as well is a collaborative civic infrastructure and governance in order to just like facilitate this flow of, and kind of echoing what Shani was saying about a regenerative space, right? And what that means is just like, it's like a machine that just operates without thinking about it. The dollars are cycled, the businesses are operating smoothly. We are co-creating together. And so I would love for us to continue to co-create in this space, and just type into the chat, other thoughts and characteristics of cooperative enterprise, cooperative economics as it comes to mind. And so this is a practice too that we've been doing, as a people from ancient times. We very much so, we very much so have been operating in this space as a people to collaborate and share with one another. So what are some examples of co-ops that you know of today? And feel free to come off mute or type into the chat. Oh, I love these hashtags.
Well, Angela, I currently have a Susu that I've been operating, I guess you could say, for about a year and a half now since COVID started. It was something that I wanted to start with some family and friends, and started off with 10 people, and now we have about 35. So we've helped each other pay rent, put savings away, pay for trips, birthday parties for our kids, things like that. Every time I have people fill out the interest form, I always ask them, what's your financial goal this round? And we hold each other accountable. So it's been amazing to watch that and how we've worked together to make sure that one another have that final payout. And the accountability that comes with the community is very different than when you're trying to save by yourself. So we're all hitting those goals because we're holding ourselves accountable to the community, the larger picture. Like, I know I got to put in because everyone's counting on me for my $100 a week, as opposed to just counting on yourself. And I don't know if I could do that without the community. So it's been a lifesaver, and it's been amazing bonding with each other. And people I don't even know, we just keep bringing people in that we love and trust for the process, and we just continue to expand. So I'm looking forward to seeing it continue to grow.
Beautiful, beautiful. And one of the pieces, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm about to ask you a question. Within SUSUs and even within any cooperative economics, again, there has to be like a system, right? Or processes of governance or what have you. Would you mind speaking a little bit to that and how that operates within your organization?
Sure. So I'm the person, I'm the admin, I'm the person who creates the interest form, or the form, just, to keep it organized, to have everyone's payment information, your payout dates that you want. How many hands do you want? Do you want a half a hand for $50 a week? So you get 500 versus $100 a week, you get 1,000. So I'm the one organizing that. I put the groups together. I'm the one who, I have to do it now, drop the name for every week of who gets what. So just keeping that order and balance and keeping it in one hand, but also I do want to teach somebody else to do it, because I want it to be like, if I ever have to be removed, like, this can continue to go and people can continue to save their money together. So yeah, it was really a thought that I had and brought together some people. And then, like I said, we continue to expand as more people get interested. Beautiful. And it's not like the flowers. So I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
I know people have been hurt by that, myself included. This is the old school SUSU where we all pay into it every week. There's no flipping of anything. It's you get back what you put in. Yeah.
Beautiful. Very, very powerful for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I saw some things flowing in the chat.
Let's check it out. Eco villages, I see TikTok all aboard. And someone said, yes, I was going to say the flower. But
Yes,
yeah,
they're very different.
yeah, killing the algorithm in a way only we can.
Mhm.
And oh, it's different from the flower. Okay, got that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So traditional susu, like cooperative practice is very, very different from these flowers that popped up last year. And the way that Chantel spoke about how, everybody's, paying in collectively and how everybody gets a share when it's their turn. That method of economics we've been doing that since ancient times. When we, built our empires and were very prosperous and fruitful walking across this land. And we're going to talk about how to get back there today. So another thing that we might also be familiar about is, yes, thank you, Admiral. I was just about to mention food cooperatives. Food cooperatives are very, very wide, well known, where that can look a lot of different ways. A lot of farmers, particularly in rural areas, are part of a farming co-op, where that may look like where you might have, say, 10 rice farmers, and all of those 10 rice farmers may come together and pool their harvest to then sell to one big seller, right? And then that way they can have greater profits that are shared versus if they try to sell, a smaller amount to a smaller seller, they may not receive as much. And so you have farming cooperatives that operate in those type of ways, food cooperatives as well. And you'll also see housing co-ops. I know that there are several housing co-ops where you'll have folks who might go in to purchase a building, and they all like own the building, and they pay into it monthly or weekly, however the governance is decided. They all collectively support the maintenance and upkeep of the land. You also have land cooperatives that work in the same way. And again, the root of all of it is that we are pooling our resources, coming together to co-create in a way in which we are building our assets, right? So our assets are things that we own, that have value, and that continue to grow and have value over time. So that's, land, spaces, and building businesses and economics together. All right, we can go to the next slide, please. So I spoke very briefly about how, we've been, we as a people, as a melanated people on this planet, have been practicing cooperative economics for centuries, up until recent times, meaning the 1960s, I should say, is when you really started to see the decline of our cooperative structure. So the images here you see came from Black Wall Street. And so we all are very familiar with Black Wall Street, as it has been referenced in Tulsa, Oklahoma. However, during the early 1920s, I should say, there were more than 60 Black prosperous cities and towns all across the country. And this is a statistic here from the Tulsa Black Wall Street, and that there were over 600 businesses, 21 churches, 21 restaurants, 300 grocery stores, 2 movie theaters, 6 private airplanes, a hospital, a bank, and their own school system. This was very, very common back in the early like the 1920s, a little bit before that. And even before then, back in the late 1800s, it's called the Reconstruction era. It was between like the 1870s, where there were more Black legislators and politicians in Congress and in politics than there have been really ever in time. There were over like 2,000 Black politicians in the late 1880s. We were thriving communities. We were pooling our resources together. We were supporting one another in a very, very powerful way. And so I got some trivia. During Black Wall Street, during the late 1920s, The dollar circulated for 365 days in the Black community. Can someone tell me how many days or how long does the dollar circulate in the Black community today? Does anyone know? You can type it in the chat. Any guesses? 5 minutes. 30 minutes, baby. Wow. Yeah, it's a little longer than 30 minutes, but it's not 365 days. It's 6 hours. So that means that the dollar circulates for only 6 hours currently in Black communities, where in other communities, their dollars circulate for about 30 days. Jewish communities, 30 days, Asian communities, the same. And so this is a really important piece to note, because that is how we continue to generate wealth in our communities. It's by continuing to circulate the dollar. What does that mean? It means that we are pouring back into our own businesses. We are buying from our own businesses. We are employing our own people. We are continuing to literally feed ourselves through our food, through how we're training one another, through the opportunities that we provide and that we are creating and co-creating with ourselves. So just wanted to point that out there, that we are a collective people. We know very well how to practice collective and cooperative economics. It shall be so. It shall be so. We can go to the next slide, please. All right, so this is an example. Some of you may be familiar with this cooperative economic practice in practice. We're going to watch a short video about the Freedom Georgia initiative.
You hear that? That is the sound of freedom. A lush and rugged expanse about 130 miles south of Atlanta, just shy of 97 acres. It's undeveloped, unincorporated, and it has new owners.
It feels amazing. It feels really amazing. I cry every time I come here.
Renee Walters is one of them. She's president of the Freedom Georgia Initiative. It's a collective of 19 Black families who recently bought this land. This dream all started a few weeks ago during Renee's typical morning call with her friend Ashley Scott.
She said, "Ashley, did you see the article about Toomsboro for sale?"
It turns out that the entire small town was never for sale, just a bundle of a few dozen homes and buildings. So Ashley, a real estate agent, looked for listings in the area and found one for this.
And it was just such a beautiful piece of land. It was affordable, and it just made sense that we could create something that would be amazing for our families.
Why were these two women interested in the prospect of buying a town in the first place?
It really was when we saw what happened with Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the protests.
We both have Black husbands, we both have Black sons, and I was starting to get overwhelmed and have a sense of anxiety when my husband would leave the house to go to work.
So watching our people protesting in the streets, while it is important, and I want people to stay out in the streets, bringing attention to the injustices of Black people, we needed to create a space and a place where we could be a village again, a tribe again.
Oh, the butterflies.
So Renee and Ashley reached out to family and friends, and together they bought what they intend to name Freedom Georgia, a new Black city.
We don't intend for it to be exclusively Black, but we do intend for it to be pro-Black in every way.
Jessica Gordon-Amard is an economist and an expert on Black collectives.
I've found tremendous benefits to individuals, families, and the communities that are involved in it, including, the economic stability and prosperity, but also leadership development, social capital development, other kinds of human capital development. And so it's really a win-win for everybody involved to be involved.
the owners hosted the Big Black Campout over Labor Day weekend. Supporters drove in from across the country. The plan is to introduce farming next, create a lake for sustainable fishing, facilities for recreation, and eventually develop a fully operational, expanded city.
By being able to create a community that is thriving, that is safe, that has agriculture and commercial businesses that are supporting one another, and that dollars circulating in our community, that is our vision. And to be able to pass this land down to my children and to the children that are represented by each of our 19 families as a piece of legacy. We're hoping to create legacy.
Victor Blackwell, CNN, Wilkinson County, Georgia.
Yes, yes, yes. So reflections, family reflections. And feel free to come on camera into the conversation with us. What comes up for you when you see this in practice? I think I heard somebody come off mute. And then just what are your thoughts about, you know, how we can do this and build this together? I see some things coming through in the chat.
Let me see. My heart leaps at the thought of this. Wu-Town 2023. We are about to get our numbers up. Love it. Let's see. Kadeem said, wow. Oh, we were talking about the 30. But what else is there? Shawnee for me. I ain't got enough to do. I gotta be the man too. Oh my goodness. That's so funny. And let's see what else is great things that can happen when we come together.
Absolutely.
That I have my tears in my eyes. We need to connect to each other again. This is powerful. Jacqueline, I would love to do this. Let's go. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Marie, my sister Marie, she mentioned about an eco-village. Traditional in Africa. Marie, would you mind sharing a bit more, educating us on an eco-village? Yeah. If you can speak. I'm not sure if you're in a space to speak.
Are you there? Okay, maybe.
Oh, she may not be.
There she goes. Yes, she is.
No, I'm actually not in the space to speak. My nose is really. I just wanted to, yeah.
You sound good to me.
Oh,
you sound all clear. Blow your nose and keep talking. No pressure. I'm messing with you, girl.
Yeah, no,
it's simply a collaborative of families who come together to support each other in community and in farming and raising their children, in governance. And this is what is traditional in still many areas in Africa. And getting ready to do that this coming week, to do some work in eco villages, to do service with young people.
Yes.
But that is our foundation, and so we're simply going back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And feel better.
Yes, feel better, Marie. And I like what you also pointed out too. The key piece about an eco-village is that we are living in harmony with the land and living sustainably and in one with the earth. And so that's really, really important as we're thinking about, you know, our villages and how we are co-creating with the land, how we are co-creating with this earth. I saw something come through from Facebook, a Facebook share.
Yes, that's Martine. It says, what comes up for me is seeing what many talk about actually manifested. I have had conversations about doing such things since high school, but in my circles, it's always just talk. We have to do. I have to do. And then Florence says, or asked, are there any other spaces like this in the country?
Thank you, Sister Martine, because we're about to do here. And are there any other spaces in the country? People are beginning to do this and create this space. So a little bit of more background on that, those families from Georgia. that video was from, they did that in like 2020, I believe, or 2021 is when those families came together and, purchased that land. And I remember around that time, and even still now, folks are coming together, purchasing land, and really looking at ways in which we can facilitate our own self-sustainability. And so we can pull back up the slides now.
Sure.
And if you are in a space to ground yourself a little bit, if you're laying down, that's perfect. I'm going to take a minute to imagine your freedom village. If you can, close your eyes and release, any boundaries, any limits, any buts or ifs, or any barriers or blockages that might come up. They don't exist. And envision your eco village. What is the world that you would like to create for your tribe? What's your surrounding? Where are you in the world? Where is your village? Is this a coastal land? Are you in the mountains, the Great Plains, the jungle, maybe even perhaps? Think about how the members of your community are living, communing with nature. How are you producing food and moving about the land? How is technology incorporated into your village? Technology could look a lot of different ways, not necessarily just the machines that we know of, but also technologies in the forms of how energy is produced through the wind and water. How are you connecting with other communities? Are we bartering services and goods? Think about the civic infrastructure, the governance of your community. Is there a chief? Is there a mayor? Are there mayors or chiefs? Is there a circle of elders? Is there a circle of young ones? How are we connecting with the processes or co-creating the processes and systems for the governance of your village? How are you manifesting the resources needed for your tribe to thrive? Are there goods and commerce? What things come to mind? And just take a moment. Just let your creative juices flow. And when you're ready, I would love for someone to share the vision. What's the dream for your freedom village? Where are you in the world? What does it look like? What does it taste like? And I would love for someone to share. Give a description of what might come to mind. Mm-hmm.
So if anybody is willing to come up out of the space of the meditation and actually create the space to express in the space, maybe share some things folks have not considered or heard before, raise your digital hand and then we'll hear from you. And Facebookers can drop it in writing in the space. So Cherie, okay. We're ready for you. Unmute yourself, love.
Grand Rising family. Oh, this conversation is so rich and so timely. So as I think about where we could all be, it's a true place. it does exist. The place that I am moving towards for myself is coastal, it's lush, it's community, it's growing, it's people who are divorcing themselves from programming that no longer serves them and their lineage going forward. It's a place where people are grateful for all they have, and they don't have a lot in terms of possessions, but they have a lot within them. And it is the inner virtues of the community that is the wealth of our community. Lots of respect, lots of good, delicious, fresh fruit, food, clean air, running water, more connection to ourselves, or more time to examine connections to ourselves and our inner selves. You wake up when the sun wakes you up, something divorced of anxiety, keeping up, lots of gentleness, lots of rest. Yeah, that's what it looks like for me. Letting me.
Ashe, ashe, yes. Yes, what I also heard in what you were describing was just abundance and flow, right? Flow and harmony. Harmony is what I received from your share. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to share?
Yeah, so I'm going to read from Facebook, and anybody in the Zoom space can raise their digital hand and we'll go to you next. So Queenie said, sadly, I just sold a lot of land in Georgia because my father needed money. And Chantel posted from Facebook that Jim said, I like that we can get it, that we have to create for ourselves and stop depending on other people and cultures to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Florence shared our own bank and solar energy. I'll share. Many of you know, and Angela is one of the graduates, Chantel on here as an admin, as a graduate, and there are other graduates in the space of Be the Tree Rites of Passage Collective for Women. And I always say it jokingly, but half seeing it as possible, that everything that we need, or 90% of what we need, is already present for us to have a commune, to be in a collective space on land, living, growing together, having ownership in a different way, a more African-centered way. We have doctors, we have horticulturists, we have healers in different ways. We have teachers in this space, we have therapists in the space, just all kinds of folks. We have an architect that's part of the graduate or the alumni community, people who catch babies. It's amazing. And I'm like, if we wanted to go in that direction, it's very possible, because all of the ingredients are present, and people who are into, what's the word I want to use? How to move, and you're included in this, Angela, how to manifest different types of abundance other than fiat or dollars that we are known and conditioned to believe that is the only workable currency. So just thinking about it from that perspective, of like, it's possible, because we have a tribe that can do that if we get organized. And I envision us using womanists values. I envision us sharing resources And this came up for me because two of my cousins had babies around the same time. And one of them was holding the baby of the other, and the baby was crying. I was like, "Are you going to breastfeed the baby?" And she was like, "What? No," because it wasn't a baby. And I'm like, that's what our people would do. It's like, yo, you take out the breast, you feed, because there was a need. It wasn't about what babies came from your womb. It was about the hunger in the moment and the extended heart, body, hand, spirit, milk, literally. And I want to return to that not being weird, but that being wonderful and part of just how we get down as a community. And I'm complete.
Thank you for that share, Shawnee, because you're absolutely right. I've always of the mind that we have everything that we need in abundance already right now. We have everything that we need. And it's just a matter of us coming out of our silos and coming together to pool our resources, to pool our collective talents and gifts and wonders and pool our abundance. And that is cooperative economics. That is cooperative economics. And so you also said something too, Shawnee, that I want to bring present to is that you talked about how something's being weird, right? And unfortunately, in this Western world that we have been conditioned in this society in America, is that a lot of the things that are quote unquote seen as weird, we were, we were operating that way for generations, for centuries. And those, seemingly weird things were the things that kept us thriving, right? So it's also a matter of reprogramming our minds to releasing some of the just conditions that have been, stifling us from really operating in our collective abundant flow, I should say. And just reprogramming us to get back to some of our core innate selves, tapping into who we are as stewards of this planet. We have another good Facebook share. I think if someone can read that, and then, go ahead.
Absolutely. Jackie said we have it all, Shawnee. And then Cherie said, yes, all we need. Yep, so true. Thank you for that reminder. Pull our abundance even down to the breast milk. Facebook share by Lori. I have been talking about this with my family for a year. We have family land that is underdeveloped, beautiful, and requires little money for maintenance, but we have to get it in alignment about trusting the collective. Oh, that's so key, that share. My goodness, not trusting each other gets in the way all the time. Abundance of natural food, no more food deserts, our own food markets, farm to table. Chantel said, wasn't that what wet nurses did? Yes, they did, but under duress and force. A lot of times, just thinking about our enslavement as a people. Again, now we have fear about even being in the same space with one another because of COVID and other illnesses. We wouldn't dare breastfeed someone else's child. Makes me wonder what the real goal of COVID is. Aaliyah said, yes, that's what the wet nurses did. Forgot about that. Yes.
Thank you for those shares. One of the other things too that I offer and that I always say is that, we build and co-create with those who are in alignment with building and co-creating with us, right? So when we're talking about creating trust within our networks and I guess kind of bringing the tribe along. I'm always of the mind that it's like, in the scripture, they tell you this, and I'm Southern Baptist church raised. They say when one or two are gathered, all is well, right? So, when one or two are co-creating together, high vibrations are in the mix. And we can, who is in alignment will be with us, and we will co-create and build with those that we attract in this space. And I'm of the belief that we can attract and receive all that we need and desire to build and manifest that which is our birthright. So definitely holding space for that. Now we are about to do a little exercise. I forgot to ask you guys to, grab a pen or a paper if you have one close by, or if you got, want to put notes in your phone. because we are going to get into the doing that Sister Martine called out earlier. We're going to do some doing of what might it actually take to build our own Freedom Village. We can go back to the slides as well.
Okay.
So we just did a visioning of like, what does it look like in our minds, right? Like, what are we doing? Where are we in the world? We know that we're going to need some resources and some people, maybe a coin or two to actually tangibly make this happen. So what's actually, like when we think about being self-sustaining, some things were dropped in the chat around, our own food, having our own banks, our own doctors, architects, all of the above. What's truly needed, right? So if we're saying, all right, we're going to go and we're going to build our village, the first thing that we would want to do is literally just write down a list of like, okay, when we think about life and living, what's needed, right? We know we need food. We know we need, wellness. We know we need opportunities for continuous learning. And also too, again, cooperative economics, we are building an enterprise together. I know that so I don't know, when we think about building this together, quite frankly, we're building a business. This is a community business plan. In order for us to create regenerative and generational legacies, like the ones that the ladies talked about on the video, there has to be a plan in place for sustainability. So, what's the revenue exchange? What are the things that we might think about that are needed and really in order to be self-sustaining? So if you want to grab a pen, paper, or have in your phone your place for notes, we can go to the next slide as well. We're going to break out into some breakout rooms around, let's create our own Freedom Village now, okay? So we're going to break out into some breakout rooms. And in those rooms, if we could begin to, those lists of things that you need to be self-sustaining. Some of you may already have been looking into land and or properties or spaces for your families. You might know a dollar amount associated with how much it might actually take to purchase a land or property. But if you don't know the dollar amount, put together just like, a line item to say, we will need funding for land. Or you might know somebody in your family, or you might know some people who has had land generationally passed down to them. So let's think about what's needed. We're going to need a farm. We're going to need, Sister Chantel talked about kind of really what a susu is. That's a bank. A susu is a bank for real. So we're going to need that mechanism of exchanging resources amongst our tribes and making sure that everyone's needs are met. All of these things, right? So we just want to jot these down. And in your breakout session, we're going to claim your land, name your village, and decide, think about a purpose statement, right? So in the video of the Georgia Freedom Initiative, the lady talked about how this is it's not necessarily a Black only space, but it's a pro-Black space, right? Where we are living and co-creating with ourselves. So what's the purpose statement for your Freedom Village? And then also think about the co-creators and resources that you will need in order to manifest your vision. So there may be some nonprofit organizations or even some for-profit organizations that you might know of that could allocate some resources for developing out the land, people that we need to partner with, investments that might be needed in order to establish your village. Let's jot this down and put some pen to paper and really start fleshing out what might be needed in order to build your Freedom Village. Before we go into the breakout rooms, I would love for us, I saw some more things pop through in the chat, and then to answer any questions that anyone might have before we go into the breakout session.
All righty. So let's see. There's a bunch of stuff came up. Awesome. Rolling all the way back. So Jacqueline said, that was earlier. Go back. Jacqueline acknowledged Lori. Trust is an issue with the collective. Zahora said, we got 5,000 acres of land, be with the shrine of the Black Madonna.
Oh.
Beautiful. And it is possible for sister to move to a more centered, she's asking about your camera. So you can change to landscape, Angela, as we move forward, just turn the camera to the
okay,
so
gotcha.
you can fill up the screen. I didn't want to interrupt your flow earlier. Aaliyah said, it's just so amazing how the ancestors of Black Wall Street had this all in the bag set up in full force. I think the only thing that we're missing was military. Perhaps a precinct would have saved them from the racists that massacred the town. Jacqueline shared correctly, as so many Black towns that were destroyed because they did not have protection. Aaliyah and D. Jackie, next time we must have protection. Jacqueline, Aaliyah, we also had the government using eminent domain to break up Black collectives. And wow, shaking my head. So, trying to think if I skipped over a Facebook share. I think we're good in that regard. Yeah, so questions about, you wanted to know if folks had questions about the breakout
instruction? Yeah, any thoughts or questions, or if the breakout rooms are ready?
Yeah, they are. We can rock.
Okay.
You give the go ahead. So we good?
All right, let's go.
All right, excellent. Righty. So I believe it's Angela, you still in here? Oh, we sent her away. She'll be back.
Yeah.
Or I can bring her back.
Pull her back. Yeah.
Here she is. Main session. All right, Facebookers, you have the opportunity to create your own Freedom Village. And we have 10 minutes for this exercise, so we can talk about it in this space. You can write about it in Facebook so that you can generate and share what your vision is. She said, name the village. I love it. What's your, what did she say? The purpose statement or mission statement? And Angela, if you're back, you can jump back in. With
you're rolling. Go ahead. Sis.
All right. I'm just thinking about this for myself. Name your village. Oh goodness, I gotta sit with this because I'm big on naming things. I really, really want to land on a name that aligns with, what's in my heart. And purpose statement. Wow. So yeah, I need to sit with this because I'm like, I want it to be juicy.
Yeah,
budget or list for the resources people and organizations may need to partner with and the potential investments. So I know for sure, Angela, any land manifestation or collective or village that I design, you and the Journey to Wealth folk, those sisters that are in this conversation about currency and creating this new world with Web3 and just all of that would have to be a part of it so that we can have our own resources being generated in various ways and ways that align with the future. Yeah, so I want to sit with, and maybe Chantel or somebody else has, I think it's just us in the space, but has an idea like name and purpose statement I'll hand that over and I'll take a minute to just think about this a little bit more. So Shan, you got anything, or are you in the same space as me?
I'm in the same space, but this reminds me of a project that I heard about through like a grant someone was working on. I don't remember the full details, but they called it their Black Utopia. And so that's what I'm thinking of, and just what that would look like. And I'm not even sure what that would look like or where to start, but from what I'm gathering from what others are sharing, it just sounds like things that we deserve. Like when we were talking about clean air and fresh food, that's something that you would just think that we would have on earth and that we would be given as a people. And so it just hit me that, we have to dream of these things, and they should already be, if that makes sense, in this land that we're on. So yeah, that's what's coming up for me as I think about, like, why do I even have to create something like this? Why isn't this still here? These are traditions of our people, and they're no longer part of, at least not everyday life. And so just wondering why we have to dream about those things. Why is that a luxury?
Yeah,
That's a good thought.
yeah.
Thank you.
No, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I was just, I'm like, I don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Two things that came up for me is just the name of my company. The acronym is SO. And I'm like, it's an affirmation, it's a declaration, it's a action, it's a directive, it's a prayer, like so. So that either will be part of the name or the name. And all are welcome, but just like when we get there, we sow. That's what we do, into one another, into the land, into the universe, and we allow the ancestors to sow into us, because that's the piece that's off balance to me, that we don't look to them and tap in, speak to them on a regular basis, and then honor and pay homage to their sacrifices and listen to the directives. The other piece is with sow, meaning spirit of a woman. We have core values. We believe in authenticity. We believe in integrity. We believe in collaboration. We believe in equity, contribution. We believe in creativity. We believe in competence. So just thinking about the core values driving the purpose and amplifying the name, that comes up for me. And having a wise counsel, elders, of young people, and also having, what I've done with so over the years. I don't do it as much now, but there's something called an imbonji, where if there's conflict, we gather as a community to process, and there's equity in that processing, no hierarchy and no punitive ways of addressing conflict or injustice or crime, so to speak. I don't even like that word unless it's like something extreme, but just honoring each other, that we make mistakes and not enforcing punishment, but creating a space where there are learning lessons, and we all collectively declare what those will be and trust each other in doing so. So that's what comes up for me right now in reference to creating a freedom village.
And we also have some shares from Facebook if you want to read them, Sean.
Yes, of course. Thank you, love. So, I love what Cherie said before they went into breakout rooms. What if we all were trained to protect? Ashe. Chantel, you posted Lori's share. The name is important. I think about all of the historical importance of names. Thank you, Lori. And I wonder if something came up for you about a name, and you can drop that in. Jim, sounds like shades of sovereignty. Ashe. I like that as a name too. A village called Sovereignty. Chantel, you posted Lori again. I think I would call, she got to it. I think I would call it Back to the Land. That was the name of a great wealth food store, and was a refrain of our family elders for the latter generations to return back to the land. What about Wonderland? All right. Got that. And it's about, or how about Wonderland? It's about what you want to call it. And then also, like I said earlier, it's about collectively coming up with a name that resonates with folks, not like I'm naming this and y'all have to come and do what I say, but just generating as a collective and generators, co-creators, innovators. So Anjali, anything? Because,
Yes. So I wanted to go back to what Chantel was speaking about earlier in terms of even having to think about this, right? Like even having to think about like, having access to clean water and having to build out these spaces that, are us. This is where we are. This is where we live. This is our planet, right? So to even think about this in this way, I totally understand where I feel you on that, Sister Chantel. One of the things that just really is present to me is that for, at least the past 400 or 500 years, we've been, actually before that, we've been operating, we as the melanated people on this planet have been operating from a space of disenfranchisement and not being able, and these, things that are kind of innate to this land, having access to the land and water and food, has been something that we've been, that has been stripped away from us in a lot of different ways. It was posted in the chat earlier that, and history shows us all of those thriving Black towns that were of the 1920s, none of them exists today. Not a single one exists in a way in which it was thriving in a metropolis. Like these were Black towns that were metropolises for us all across the country. And so it's like, we have to take back the land, right? We have to take back our birthright. We have to take back that has been stolen and taken from us as a part of this, quite frankly, just genocide that we've been enduring as melanated people on this planet. And so this is a very powerful time that we are living in right now to co-create together. We are on literally the precipice of a whole new world that is being created right now. A lot of us, may not even be present to it, in that, over the course of time, everybody's coming back into the chat. This is perfect. Over the course of history, there have been what's been called industrial revolutions. Right, we had the agricultural revolution, we had the steel and revolution. That's when, the steel mills and the big factories came up in Detroit, and then you saw the great migration of Black folks moving from the South to the North. And now we are in another industrial revolution. And all of these moments in time, all of these places throughout history have been met with tremendous wealth being created. And throughout history, we have not been a part, we as in collectively, as melanated people on this planet, we have not been playing a role in being able to create powerfully in these spaces. And so I'm a part of a community Shawnee mentioned in our breakout, Journey to Wealth community, and we have established a decentralized autonomous organization that is built on the framework of cooperative economics and cooperative practice. This industrial revolution that we are embarking on now is all around how do we co-create spaces that we own ourselves? How do we co-create economic infrastructures that we, the people, own ourselves? This past, I guess, these generations that we've been living in, that we know of today that are of our day to day, we've been consumers, right? We've been heavily consumers. Big business and big government, quite frankly, has been making trillions and trillions of dollars off of us. This is a time right now that we are living in where we have the power to recreate that paradigm and shift to where we are builders in this space. We are creators. We are defining what our futures will look like. And we have the opportunity to build in this industrial revolution that is happening right now. So thank you. Chantel just dropped in the chat about our DAO. It's called Disruptor DAO. And again, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. And what that looks like, it's essentially a co-op that uses the code of technology for its governance. We use the code of technology to put together our systems. So earlier when we were talking about what are the governance and the civic infrastructures required to manage the payouts of, everybody's contribution, or to manage, like we all went in and started a business together. What are the systems that are required in order to make sure that everybody receives their share? Voting. We vote on everything. What are the systems required to manage the voting? And being a part of the decentralized organization is that there's something called blockchain, and being connected to the blockchain is a technology that allows for all of those things to just take place, to happen automatically, to happen in a way in which everybody who is connected to the organization can see it happening. It's transparent. We all go in together to decide, how these systems and processes will be built out. And so we've shared a little bit of the visions for our village. And I would love to hear from you all about your village, your Freedom Village. And I apologize, my support camera just went out. I think the internet just went out over here. So my bad, I'm trying to come back to be present visually with you guys, but definitely want to open it up to the community. I want to know, what's the names of y'all's villages? Were there any challenges, blockages came up, anything on your mind you wanted to talk through? I'm excited to hear from y'all.
So I see Cassie's beautiful face smiling and glowing. I don't know if you want to share what you shared with your group. And before we make this this leap, if anyone has to leave, because it's after 8 o'clock, we normally do a check-in at the 8 o'clock hour, but it was so good what Angela was sharing that we moved through. But if you do have to go, and please stay if you don't have to, we invite you to tune back in, watch the rest of the session through replay on our Facebook page. And then also just stay connected. Angela's information is being dropped into the chat so that you can be in touch. She has some phenomenal things going on in reference to the DAO that she just explained. Powerful community of women making magic and moves that are about our futures. And we need to be in this conversation as women, because we're very enterprising and innovative and powerful. And we're definitely all of that when we join forces, not to exclude men, but the DAO is about women manifesting in these ways. So now that I've said that and made that announcement, Cassie, and anyone, no pressure, Cassie, if you don't want to, but anyone who wants to share, please raise your digital hands. And Cassie, I see you unmuted, so go ahead, beloved.
Yes, peace and blessings, everyone. I'm so glad to see my sister here. The title that we had, 3 other people in our group, Yvette, Z, and Vero. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. The title of our village was Village of Kwanzaa Principles. The resources that we said that we need are a rough budget and consisted mainly of time banking, or investment of time, and utilizing a community asset-based approach. So combining the assets in our village and bartering. Some of the resources we said we need, we looked at the basics. So seeds for food stability, seed for mindset change, and seed for education, especially our youth, to maintain our village, land and water, pure water. And we also discussed how we've had different, especially melanated communities, and how those things were intentionally taken, the basics, land, purified water, and also I'm looking at the camera, my little one, she's moving now. So those are some of the basic things that we discussed, and I am complete. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister Cassie. It's so good to see you and be with you this rising. I love how you said the time bank. That's good. I'm going to adopt that. Thank you for sure. Thank you. That's really good.
Beautiful. Any other folks that want to share what you generated in the breakout room? Please raise your digital hand. We want to hear from you. I know y'all was doing some work up in there. So Aaliyah, Jackie, Kadeem, is Kadeem still up in his house? I know y'all was manifesting. So Wadi, I see you. Go ahead, love.
Greetings, everyone, Bargani. We talked about all the beautiful things that you need and the essential things, but then we got into needing a council or a tribunal when shit goes left. We talked about needing, and not only when shit goes left, when some, where we don't understand how to support each other, we don't understand our own anger and violent tendencies. We need security. We need to know how to take care of people. We need healers. We need visionaries. We need love. That was the main thing that we talked about, needing love. And now Aaliyah was in our group, so I'll let her say more. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Zawadi. Greetings, everyone. Some of the other mentions from Sisters Teresa and Phyllis was also education, the innovative mind, agriculture, we need water. Sister Zawadi, you said plan. And I thought that was so powerful. You said we need to have a plan, because if we look at some of our ancestors who had, whose intention was right on, but then the community failed, I think it's because the plan wasn't concrete. And Sister Phyllis and Teresa, if I missed anything, definitely please jump in. And I'm complete.
One of the things that I want to add is like a medicine person who knows about herbs and stuff, because I feel like we need to go back to our old roots and get back to herbs, because years ago we did not have all this medication. I think the medication is messing us up, so I would have to add the medication. And everything else that you said, I thought it was great. Thank you for letting us have this possibility, seeing a possibility of creating a new world for us. And I'm complete.
I'll just add that we were so deep in it, we didn't get to a name.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, that's beautiful though. Co-creation. That's beautiful.
I had a question though. What's a time bank? Please do tell.
Oh, I'll ask Sister Cassie if she could come back on. Okay, here she just put it in the chat. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Peace and blessings. Time banking, I partnered with the community that utilized time banking. And that was where everyone had an asset or something they can contribute. So someone would do house painting for someone for 5 hours. So they had banked in time 5 hours. So someone could help them do something that they had a gift of, such as gardening. So they would have been banked in 5 hours. So instead of exchanging monetary value, it was utilizing time and the talent or gift that they had in order to uplift their individual community. So it was beautiful how that was circulated through the community. And I am complete.
Shay, thank you.
So we call that a barter system when I grew up. Barter system. So I like the new word, time banking.
That's teamwork for me.
Thank you for that, sis. I saw Sister's hand earlier, and then Vero. Sister, did you still want to share?
Hey, good morning. 1 second, please. Sorry about that.
She go away?
Good morning. Angela.
Hey.
Good to see you this morning.
You
So,
too.
okay, so in my circle, we were introduced to, I'm sorry, sis, I don't remember your name, forgive me, who shared this information about a space that have already started it. Started their own village, Shrine of the Black Madonna. I don't know too much about it, but I have heard about it before. I believe she said it's Beulah land. Maybe she might want to come on and speak a little bit more about it. And how they have gotten together and purchased land already. So they have already processed this. So I would say, looking at other people who have done this work before and or in the process of doing it and getting consultation from them. Also, I have visited a place that was self-sustaining. Many of you probably know about Omega Village. And they have they grow their own food there. They have their own gigantic wells and water sources. They're completely self-sustaining. Yeah, so that's my little two-piece. That's it. I'm complete.
Beautiful. Thank you, sister. Thank you. And I'm glad you actually brought that back up too about the Shriners. So I also know that Masons also have, like the brick Masons, have claims to various land and buildings. And so my family, I have brick Masons in my grandfather's side, and my uncle was telling me that there are buildings around that cannot be sold because the brick Masons own those buildings. They own a piece of those buildings, and a lot of times the families don't know it. And those are like assets that belong to us. And so I just want to also let it out there too, that, you know, we have resources that we really don't know about. And I'm just thankful for this conversation. Vero, I see your hand.
Yes, good morning. Evelyn and I had a rapid discussion. So we weren't planning, we were just talking about the land. And she spoke of her family having land in Belize and Honduras, and how her family is getting together and dividing up the land so that each person will have a plot of land. And my one question was, yes, lots of people are moving away from America. And how many of us are going to stay here and this is where we're going to buy the land? And so that was one question that came out of our discussion. And also I was telling her that I have 20 acres, my sister has 20 acres, and my sister in 20 something years, she built on hers and I haven't gotten an opportunity to build this yet. And she just discovered that she has a stream running under her well, a spring. So it makes us think about when we go to buy land, we should be buying property near rivers, lakes, where there's a pond. I have a pond on my property. We also spoke about the fact the cost of things going up so much, because when I first bought the property, to put a well and a septic in was $6,000. And now I'm having it done and it's $20,000. And so it's only, and as the sister Evelyn said, it's exponentially that these things are rising. So it's pivotal that we begin to do this ASAP. That if we do have land, we should put a well and septic, because then we'll have water. And because lots of us have land, but we don't have, water is the main resource that we need to make it sustainable and off the grid. And so that was where our discussion went. And I'm complete. And I really love this. I came in late, so I apologize. Thank you.
Oh no, you're right on time. You're right on time. And I thank you for that share too. I watch a lot of history shows, and I'm like big into history, and you'll notice that all of the empires and all of, like, there's a pattern for cities and towns and states that have longevity. They're all built next to water. So yes, I'm thankful that you made us present to that fact, and that water is life, literally. We can get energy from water, we can fuel our bodies. Yeah, absolutely. To keep that top of mind as we're looking at where to establish our villages. Thank you.
I'd like to add, though, that we should be, and as the tides are rising, we should be at least 100 miles away from the ocean, because the oceans are rising. So we don't want to be a coastal community.
Yeah.
As much as it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. You're absolutely right. That's another thing too. This planet is shifting for sure. So we want to be sure that we are doing our due diligence in our research before we purchase any land. It's particularly if we're looking at it from the vantage point of passing it down for generations and generations, because you're right, the sea levels are definitely rising.
I want to just contribute a couple of things really quickly. Cassie's share earlier prompted this in me. There are models for and structures for creating these villages that we're talking about. And one of the things that I believe is absolutely part of patriarchy and white supremacy cultures operating like something's new when it's not. They're great at commandeering, appropriating, and then acting like it's a new invention or an innovation when it's really just something that has already been done, mainly by Indigenous people or Black folk. So I just wanted to offer up that we be mindful that as we build our villages, we have to decolonize our minds and our behaviors, because we'll replicate more of the same. Like Zawadi was talking about dealing with the mess that erupts, and part of it is due to internalized racial oppression. Like we have been indoctrinated with not trusting one another, tearing one another down, being competitive. The other piece that came up for me is how we must, I don't know how to engage in reparative work around the land and what we've done to it, because we're contributors to that. So before we go snatching up land, again, we need to clear up and clean up how we violate it. And doing that sacred work is super important to being able to move forward without, once again, being in the loop, in the cycle of destruction, like really doing a lot of sacred work to clean and clear, to acknowledge what we've done. Because I think about this almost every other day, like what's left for my grandbabies. Kari and Anari are going to be like, Grandma Gigi, what did you do to stop this from happening? Why are we living like this? Y'all messed this up, So that's what was on my mind about like doing the sacred work, the healing work, and that decolonizing, decentralizing, because otherwise we're just on the same crazy train. And I'm complete. There's some things in the chat too. Did you want to say anything, sis, before I read some of the shares?
Oh no, go ahead. And
All
then
right,
we have Adam.
Thank you. So Florence was saying that there are personalities like Dr. Boyce who are in conversations and action about this topic. Is it possible to get guidance and communication with such people? Ashe, yeah, it's possible. It's like half a degree of separation. So somebody in here knows Dr. Boyce and knows somebody who knows Dr. Boyce and others like him. And then Facebook, Lori shared the Masonic and Eastern Star owned buildings, but they have also lost property through mismanagement of resources. Jacqueline mentioned, I love mountains. So that connection with what Veronica said about moving 100 miles away from the sea. There's land in the Catskills and there are water sources, and it would be important to look for underground streams because with global warming, some of the streams have dried up. The water levels of the Hudson are down. Yeah, for sure. They just had a water crisis, a shortage. And I was visiting there a couple of times and they were talking about that in depthly. Jacqueline said, right, Shawnee, that's why we chose the name Sankofa Village for our place. Yes. Evelyn said we have to go back to our roots.
Absolutely. Thank you. Brother Adam?
Yes, good morning, Woo Nation. Good morning, everybody. I love this conversation about having our own village. The one thing that we need to establish is a value system when it comes to our nutrition and what we put into our bodies, because I always stress the importance of internal self-care every time I do my self-care Saturdays on Facebook with Wake Up Everybody. I believe what we put into our body will indicate how we develop as a group, and we shouldn't just put anything to our body that will cause us harm in the process, because when I mean, as of right now in the Western culture, our children are being targeted when it comes to these sweet and sugar companies like soda, fast food, cereal, and these children are eating it like it's going out of style. And as they get older and whatnot, and when they try to eat healthy, it becomes a tougher process, and the recovery becomes even longer whenever they get sick. So consequently, as adults, some of the kids that was targeted end up becoming smokers, become drinkers, or become out of touch with nature based on what they put into their body. So I believe a value system around what we put into our bodies is very important, because it determines our development in the long run. Because I always believe without your health, you have nothing. And I'm complete.
Absolutely, Brother Adam. Yes, you are absolutely right. And what also was popping up in the chat was Mahara food takes into account our mental health as well, brain fog, all types of discomforts and disabilities. Our food is really in our food. And so also, I don't know if you guys noticed too, in the video about from the folks in Georgia, food is the next thing to focus on. Like when you're building community, the food is like the first next thing, right? That we must focus on, because with growing our own food, and really just with growing in agriculture, you can grow everything. We can grow the clothes we make, we can grow the materials to build our homes and buildings. But really focusing on our food and what we're putting into our bodies absolutely is what is also the key to longevity. Absolutely. I think we have a couple more things in the in the chat, and maybe have time for one more share before we close out.
Sure. Hold on one second, sis. Yeah, you mentioned the brain fog. Jim said my thoughts exactly, Shani. Ways to protect ourselves lest we have other cultures trying to destroy the creation, which is more of the same, like the Black Wall Street, all the other communities. And then Phyllis said, I don't think she was able to post it in the chat with everyone, but yes, but it's not only what you put in your body, but what you put on your body. Hey, tell it, Phyllis. Jesus. Aaliyah said, exactly, bro, Adam. Study just came out that processed foods have been proven to diminish cognitive ability. We knew this, but now the data is officially out. Imagine our children. Yeah, Zawadi has her hand up for a share.
So I was thinking in the group, we need a number of people who are going to live on the land immediately, because it doesn't work when you have everybody living away and members are expected to send monies or contribute in some way, and then they don't. Roads need to be built, and they need to be tended to. And so I'm a part of a community in Tennessee, and I haven't been in quite some time, but I really get to see what happens when people don't contribute with their dollars, because land must be maintained. It is no joke. Like, nature will do what it will do. And I think that's something that we don't understand if we haven't lived on land, or if we live in the cities. We're doing our thing. Maybe we'll send, maybe we don't. And that's where the plan becomes really necessary. So this has been a great and powerful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Zawadi. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, well, there were a couple more things that came through in the chat. I'll just read. Sister Marie talked about permaculture, and that is a way of nourishing the land and not stripping it. It also is a practice that you'll see in eco villages. And to Sister Zawadi's point around needing to be on the land, to tend to the land, is very important as well. I thank y'all for joining us today. We are
Angela, I wanted to
coming
add
to
something.
okay,
real
yeah,
quick.
sure, go ahead.
This just reminded me of, like I mentioned when we went into the breakout rooms, of Black Utopia. It reminded me of my first example of a Black Utopia being Hampton University, and how important our HBCUs are. And just that experience for me was amazing. And I think it would be similar to that now that I'm thinking about what this community would look like for me. It would be an example of an HBCU. That's where I first got that from. And the importance of alumni paying for these resources. So like Zawadi just said, you need the funds. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not near school, but there is a need to contribute monetarily to these institutions, even after we graduate, to make sure that they are maintained and that these systems stay in place for our people. So we can't do anything without endowment, and other schools have a large endowment and they keep those schools going. And so it's so important for us to give back after we graduate. So it just made me think about maintaining those villages and systems, communities that already exist for our people.
Thank you. Thank you. I got a real visceral imagery of that thriving, bustling place, a Black utopia. And thank you for that. Thank you. This has been such a rich time with y'all today. I thank you. I know on the lineup it said it was Coach Catherine, but I'm standing in for her today. Send her high vibrations and healing, as she's not feeling well. But I know she's here in the mix and in the presence and in spirit. So I give thanks to her. I give thanks to all of y'all, and let's do in 2023. Coming out of this now, you have some ideas about what it takes to co-create your village, some ideas around, the purpose and things like that. Let's not let this be the end of it. We may need to do a part 2, like maybe early next year, maybe in March or something, to see where y'all are with y'all village co-creations. This is such a powerful time, and even us here together, we can co-create something very magical and special together. So I thank y'all. Yes, Tia, let's get free in 2023. Ashe. And with that, I am complete.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that we share some of the gems that have been generated from this conversation before we close out. Angela, you've been amazing. And just for further context, jumped in yesterday to take on doing this session because Catherine and Bolly Green Johnson, who was originally scheduled to be in here, has the flu, and she was going to try to push through, thinking that she would get better. So this is an example of how this cooperative energy, this time banking, like all of it, this co-creation, us holding each other up and down in many ways. And when I say down, I mean like the good down. Yeah, so thank you so much for your generosity and for your pivot power. So Z said, I love the idea of having villages in different areas and all working in cooperation, a network of communities supporting each other. Aaliyah said, exactly, bro, to Adam. And we said about food, studies just came out. Processed foods have been proven to diminish cognitive ability. We knew this, but now the data is officially out. Imagine our children. I'm repeating this because later on she posts links to the studies. Marie said, there's a system of agriculture called permaculture that supports nourishing the land and not stripping it. And then Aaliyah posted twice the links around the food piece. And Marie said farmers are needed or interest in farming. Ashe, because that's been dying. Like we've been focused on so much. And I would imagine that there's a way, it's probably already happening, to link technology, AI, because I'm thinking about the things that young people are interested in, AI and the cultivating of the lands together so that it appeals to those folks who are up and coming. Farmers Anita Zawadi affirmed that. Adam says the more money we spend on fast food, junk food, tobacco, and alcohol, we're supporting the fitness journey of the CEOs and founders that own these companies. And the richer they get, the stronger they get, while the poorer we become, the sicker and weaker we get. Ashe. Zawadi, also people need to be in the land to watch from people who might want to do harm or use the land for their own uses. Let's get free in 2023. Thank you, Angele. Thank you, thank you, thank you, family. Y'all are amazing. All righty. So let's close out. I feel like the special offer today is to keep the conversation alive, get with it, get in action. I know for myself, I get inspired in the moment around conversations. And then when we click in or leave, I go back to business as usual. So perhaps something needs to be created so that we keep this conversation alive and we hold each other accountable to do this in big and small ways, because all of it counts. So this is your contact information. Angela, you want to say anything about this?
Not about this, but something just came to mind about a special offer. I would like to offer for whoever is in the space that is really wanting to co-create this village, and you have like an idea and you know how to make it happen, send me an email. Send us an email, disruptordow@gmail.com, or you can text that number there. And I'll do a one-on-one, just like brain dump, brain everything with you to just like flesh it out, and then to maybe think of some resources and things to plug you in. But please reach out. Please reach out.
Sure. So just thinking about cooperative economics, pouring into one another, sharing, growing, operating as a village. Love offerings are an opportunity to generate that in real time and space. So we invite you to share the spoils of your labor, the abundance that flows to you and through you, by sending a love offering through Zelle, QuickPay, or Cash App. Zelle QuickPay is soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com. Cash App, $ Spirit of a Woman. And the code is #750AD for Angele Doyne. And we always remind you that there are ways to give it through the monthly automated love offering links. And so there are 4 different options here that you can consider, and just encouraging you to create that. And some of you already have, and we thank you. And others will, and we thank you too. So taking this on so that we have energy flow and just abundance coming from all sources and in all forms. So join us for energetic cleansing, Sunday, January 1st, 2023. Brother Kadeem is up. 2023 energetic cleansing, amazing. And he doesn't need his full name, because Kadeem is enough, just like Prince and Madonna and just all the good goods out there. All you need to call him is Kadeem, and that is enough. So we look forward to him. And just as a special announcement, Kadeem has a series that he's going to be offering from Sunday through Wednesday to start our year off powerfully and to build an awesome foundation. So y'all get ready. And then Woo Nation, we invite you to welcome the new members. I saw some new names in the space today. So welcome to the space, whether you're on Facebook or on Zoom. We welcome you. We ask that you keep coming back, and invite others so we can keep growing this village, this Woo Nation. Maybe that's one of the names of the villages, which is Woo. Yes. We've gathered to wake up everybody, wake up the lands, wake up all of our ancestors so that they'll know we're back in action. So welcome to this space. We love you and appreciate you. So schedule Sunday through Thursday, 7 to 8:30 a.m. Monday and Wednesday, 7 to 7:30. Whenever you come into the space, it's always 7 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. And there's always going to be a power-filled, awesome, transformative conversation that will help you to ascend and grow and learn and share. And if you want to get alerts, use your cell phone, the text option, type in 74121 as the number, and then send Woo Nation in all caps, and then you'll be added to the automated system. And we still have Woo swag. Please do purchase. We are so grateful that we're designing ways to share in multiple ways with all of you and to have the essence of Woo on your back. Who said it's not just what you put in your body is what you wear, right? So wear Woo. Wake up, everybody. Carry it on your shoulder in a tote bag. Drink out of it in the form of a cup. Burn it in the form of a candle. Wear it on your crown chakra in the form of a hat. Yes, let's wear Woo, because wearing Woo works. And we want to ask you to stay in touch. Please register for next week's session by using these links that will be dropped into the chat. If you're not in the Facebook private group or public group, please join, use the links, and just follow us. And as you follow us, we'll follow you into prosperity and transformation. And we need volunteers. So if you haven't volunteered before, or you did and you stepped away, we ask that you come back, because in 2023, we need more folks to be sharing their gifts, more people to do adminning in the morning so that we can give some of the other folks who do it consistently a bit of a rest. We need more folks to create slides, onboard the presenters so that they're prepared to enter this space. And I don't know if y'all know, the facilitators that come into this space, especially the new ones, they're like, this is amazing how they get treated, spoken to, celebrated, prepared. Like, they love this, and they declare that Woo is run like a fine-tuned machine in a good way, right? That they feel like they're cocooned with the love of Woo, and that's all because of you as participants and us as the admin team. So please join us so you can be part of that magic. So let me take this down so that we can celebrate Anjali and her awesomeness. For those who are still in the space, unmute yourself. We invite you to do that so that we can pour into her. So come on, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank
you.
And
You're awesome.
Thank you, Sister
Thank
Angela.
you.
Let's move forward, everybody.
Awesome.
Love y'all.
Thank you for sharing
You
and
are
thank you for
not believe
so much, Gal. Wonderful
To trust.
direction
Thank you.
to do with cooperative economics.
Be
That's
free,
really what it is.
stronger,
I just
healthier.
am glad that I'm here.
Thank
Listen to all the
the
folks that are
imagination,
called
the
sisters and
gratitude,
We
brothers
got, baby.
jumping
in
in at
this
the last
grand
minute,
idea
creating a space for us
that's
to
going and
Of
going
course,
and
for my
going.
healthcare
grow
Saturdays,
collectively. You are
Coming
amazing,
here, I thank you,
amazing,
Joy Ancestors, for uplifting
yeah.
us.
amazing, amazing.
Thank you for the dollars that get generated. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Generate our wealth.